Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Ford Bronco, we're going to be showing you how to install the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver. But before we do that, why don't we just check it out and make sure it's going to work for you. So this particular one I like, and having a hitch on a Bronco just makes sense. You know, it looks right at home, really capable trucks, and having a hitch back here is going to open up your opportunities on what you can use your Bronco for. With that said, you know, I mentioned I like the way this one looks, and that's compared to the other one, the Draw Tight. That one comes way out here, so it's a lot more noticeable. But kind of the trade-off with this one is the fact that you're not going to have as much clearance. You know, obviously we have our spare tire back here, so there's quite a bit of room that we need to fill, and that's particularly important if you know, you plan on primarily using accessories like a folding bike rack or something like that, for example. Being a little bit further back, you're not going to have as much space, so just something you need to think about. This is going to be a Class 3 hitch, so it's going to have that 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube opening. Super common size, ton of different stuff will work with it. At the end, there's a reinforced collar for a little bit of extra support. And it is going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, pin and clip's not going to come included. If you need one though, not really a huge deal. You can grab it here at eTrailer. And these safety chain openings are going to be a plate style and should give us enough space to use just about any size hook that we might have. As far as hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have a 350-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating, and that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on the hitch, so relatively high number, and you should be able to use those 1 to 4 bike racks, just to kind of give you an example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 3,500 pounds, and that's going to be the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch, so the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have on it. This can be used with a weight distribution system, which is a separate component. And what happens is whenever you use that, it's going to help keep your Bronco and your trailer nice and level whenever you're going down the road. So if you have like maybe a heavy camper or something along those lines, might be worth looking into. When you use that though, the capacities are going to go up a little bit. Tongue weight rating will go up to 400 pounds, and maximum gross trailer weight rating will be increased to 4,000 pounds. With all that in mind though, it's never a bad idea just to grab your Ford's owner's manual. That way you can make sure your Bronco can pull that much weight safely. And obviously, you know, if you're gonna be pulling a trailer around, you're gonna want the lights to work on it. You know, that way people around you know what's going on, and you'll be safe and legal. And to accomplish that, you can always grab some trailer wiring. Now we're just gonna take a couple of measurements, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories will work the best. So I moved off of our lift over there to get us on some flat ground so we can get an accurate measurement. We go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening. That's going to be right at about 19.5 inches. So if you plan on pulling a trailer, chances are really good you can get a ball mount that has a slight drop in the shank, so probably maybe like a 2-inch, something like that. If you go from the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the bumper, that's going to be about 3 inches, and from the center of the hitch pin hole to the back of the spare tire, that looks like it's going to be about 12 inches, and you can use those measurements to help figure out if any folding type of accessories you might have can be stored upright without hitting your spare tire. Now keep in mind, these measurements can change depending on, you know, your Bronco, whether you have big tires, a lift kit, certain packages, and so on. So for a reference, this is an Outer Banks model, and it has a 255 70 R18 size tire. But other than that, at the end of the day, a nice hitch. I think this one looks the best appearance wise, but it's not going to be as functional as the one that comes out a little bit further. So it's really just going to depend on what you're trying to do and what you want to use your hitch for. As far as the installation goes, it's super easy. Essentially you just hold the hitch up, push 4 bolts through it, and tighten them down. So really not involved or too confusing or anything along those lines. So if you'd like to see how that's done, feel free to stick around. We'll go ahead and put the hitch on together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be underneath the back of our Bronco, and we're going to be working right here in the center, just behind our bumper. You can see along this beam, we're going to have 4 holes in it right from the factory. And those holes, we're going to be using them for our attachment points to bolt our hitch up. So if we grab our hitch, we can see that the holes in the hitch are going to line up with those holes. So we can take it and push it up into place. And once we have it lined up, you can take your bolt, put on the flat washer, and then simply just feed the hardware through out to the other side. So I'm going to do the same thing for our remaining attachment points. So you can see where our bolts are coming through. There is some wiring that runs through there. You might have to just kind of like pop it out and push it up, give you a little more room to work. And the hitch can be adjusted a little bit from side to side. So make sure you have it centered where you want it. Make sure it's sitting up flat against your beam. And now we can get the nuts started. So there's a fair amount of space. You can always just use your hands and kind of sneak them up there. If you're having trouble doing that, one trick you can do is take a 3/4 inch box wrench, put a piece of packing tape on one side, then take the flange nut and just kind of stick it to that tape. That'll hold on to it pretty good and makes it a little bit easier, kind of gives you a handle to work with to line that nut up and get it started hand tight. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the bolts. So once all your hardware is in place and hand tight, we're going to come back with our wrench and our socket and snug everything down. And now you need to make sure to come back with a torque wrench and torque down all of the hardware to the amount specified in the instructions. If you don't have a torque wrench, you can always grab one here at eTrailer, or a lot of times if you go to your local auto parts store, they'll have one there available that you can rent. But once all the hardware is torqued down, you're all good to go. You're ready to pull your trailer around or use your favorite accessory. But with that said, that will finish up our look at of the CURT Trailer Hitch Receiver on our 2022 Ford Bronco.